Markets roar on Wednesday. We see stocks up strong, both the S&P 500 up 2.30%, the NASDAQ 100 up a whopping 3.22%, gold up 0.37%, the only thing down, 20-year bonds 0.49%. Let's jump first, as we always do, into the S&P 500 now. A note of caution on the exuberance. We went from a red down candle starting the week off to a green spinning top. So far, what the candles are showing us is indecision tending up. We see that the price percent oscillators heading up now, derivative oscillators losing downward momentum. We're far from a crossing over going up. So what does that mean? It means all things being equal on the weekly chart, which is the largest chart, which again is what predicates our first impression on the mood of the market, and that is it is still down. Until we see a breakthrough, price moving through the trend line, and see after that the price percent oscillator crossover, perhaps at the same time that the derivative oscillator does, then we'll have more there. So again, big up day for the S&P, but that doesn't mean we still have that weight pushing down of the weekly trend line. So we go from the weekly to the 2-day. What do we see? We see that, again, the last 2-day candle prior to this one closed on Monday the 26th. It was a down candle. We've now gone through Tuesday and Wednesday. What do we see going on? Well, this latest candle is a crossover going up. And we went ahead and waited to call that until that actually occurred. So we now call that. It means that our down trade possibilities at this time are off. That is because we now have a down weekly, but an up 2-day. So that means with the derivative oscillator gaining momentum, price percent oscillator spiking over, we don't have an opportunity to jump into a down trade until the 2-day moves in the direction of the weekly, or the weekly moves in the direction of the 2-day. First thing we always have to have is both our large chart and our intermediate chart, that is the 2-day, the weekly and the 2-day respectively, moving in the same direction. That's not happening now. 4-hour chart, what do we see? You know, it's been going up strong since things bottomed out in the afternoon, that 1-hour afternoon on Friday, and we saw things starting on Monday really just spiking up. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday being the biggest, Wednesday afternoon being the biggest push up, laying right there on the weekly trend line. Is that going to be a ceiling? Who knows? We'll wait and see. But man, when you see a spike up in the price percent oscillator just going vertical, that means a lot of upward pressure in the market. So that's where we are on the S&P 500. You're darn sure not in a down trade at this point. You're just waiting to see how things shake out. May go back into one. We'll just wait and see. Okay, Qs. Qs has gone from a decidedly down week. Now we've seen the price percent oscillator basically go flat, not moving up yet. And again, up 3.22% for the day. Big day for the Qs, the NASDAQ 100. Again, what does our candle tell us? We have a green spinning top, means indecision tending up. Price movement hasn't pushed through the weekly trend line at this point. All things being equal, the market tends to move in the direction of the largest chart. The trend is your friend until the end. We don't have a crossover either. Derivative oscillator is still negative. Price percent oscillator hasn't crossed yet. It might, but we shall wait and see what we see. Hasn't happened at this point. So the 2-day and the weekly are still in confirmed down moves. What do we see going on as far as the 4-hour chart goes? Just like we saw in the S&P, strong up movement over the last 3 days, pushing up quickly on Monday afternoon through the 2-day trend line, and now we are looking to see if we're going to breach the weekly trend line. So again, on the not on the S&P, but on the Qs, if things roll over soon before that 2-day crosses over going up, might have a possibility for a down move if that's in the cards. Remember, we're trend followers. We have established trends. We wait for all of our calling cards to appear. Then we jump in with great gusto into our practice trades. Let's go from stocks to 20-year bonds. The only thing down for the day. What do we see going on the weekly? Just not enough energy yet to cross over on the price percent oscillator. Derivative oscillator's gone positive. So for the week, so far for the week, we have weak upward movement. We have a red open box with a candle on top. Again, it's not a strong down solid red candle, but it shows significant slowing in up movement. We go from the weekly to the 2-day, and again, the weekly's up. The 2-day is also up, and again, we see things sort of peaking out as far as they did on the 2-day candle ending Monday. This latest 2-day candle ending Wednesday. Red spinning top means is indecision, of course, tending down. Now again, remember, we're in confirmed down moves on the weekly. The 2-day's going up. So again, if that 2-day rotates over going down, that would be our jumping in point. Well, that's when we'd start looking for a jumping in point on the 4-hour chart. Yes, so we're still in a confirmed down move. Don't have that crossing over going up on the weekly yet. So we'll just continue to watch and see. Maybe that 2-day chart's going to be strong enough and we'll pull the weekly over. You know, again, we let the charts guide us. We are not forecasters. We use that term sometimes, and that's not a good term to use. We are trend followers. That's the smart way to be. What's going on the 4-hour chart? Of course, it crossed over back on the morning of Tuesday and has really just sort of been tracking down since it peaked all the way back on the 23rd. So let's see if there's enough down movement potentially to pull that 2-day chart over. We'll wait and see what we see. Okay, lastly, as always, we go to gold. Gold's in a confirmed up move as far as the weekly chart goes. We see that gold is up for the day 0.37%. However, derivative oscillator losing momentum. Price percent oscillator not heading up all that strongly. And what do we see as far as the candle goes? After an up week ending the 23rd last Friday, we have a red doji at this point. Means lots of indecision, tending down, and in fact, price movements pushed through the weekly trend line. Not a good trend line either, a crappy trend line. Not connecting 3 candles, a red candle sort of in the middle, just not pretty. We go from the weekly to the 2-day. Now, this is interesting. We now look and see that as things ended, and again, we can sort of be hesitant about jumping into, oh, the 2 days pulled over going down. Technically, it has. The derivative oscillator is losing downward momentum, but we're going to go ahead and mark the 2-day as in a confirmed down move now. Going to rotate our arrow over. This is how easy it is to use freestockcharts.com. TC2000, the paid version. You can see in the show notes, we have $25 off if you want to subscribe. I haven't had a single person who's subscribed ever send me a complaint about this wonderful, wonderful charting software. It is Chris Warden, the Warden Brothers, TC2000. You'll see the link there and the discount code in the show notes if you're interested. And so what we have is, and again, this is weak. It could change over the course of the next 2 days. It's really been laminated for the last 6 days now, but we have it officially. You can see it barely. It's gone blue under red, which means, of course, the price percent oscillator's changed over. We'll go ahead and mark that. So again, what does that mean? Well, we don't really have a trade in gold at this point. Gold down in the morning, up in the afternoon, and again, nothing to do on gold at this point but to track it, see where it goes, and when it presents an opportunity to potentially trade it. Folks, that's where we are as we end the day. Exciting things going on in the market, lots of stuff happening. And again, we like volatility. Volatility gives us possibilities. My friends, if you want to support us, buy the book. You can support us at Patreon. God bless all the best from the whole team here at Charting Wealth World Headquarters.